the old adage, you know, the old saying about the squeaky wheel is the one that gets the grease first. That's the story of this flywheel right here. It's off of an early model, 1936, if I'm not mistaken. It was off that early model. They had red flywheels on them. And this, I've had this engine in the rebuilt for 3 or 4 years. The engine has been rebuilt, painted, in dry storage. The flywheel has been one of those things that I move daily. It's always on the piece of equipment that I'm going to use at that time. It's just the way it happens. Okay, I had a, like I say, this flywheel has been in this shop for, you know, 3 or 4 years. It was primered somewhere along the way, and I decided to paint it a few days ago, and I scuffed it down a little bit. I'm not questioning why or anything like that. It's just what happened. You know, stuff like this happens. And I was out in the sun, and I had a can of spray paint, Rust-Oleum, and do not blame it on the paint. It was not the paint's fault by no stretch of imagination. But you know, I would like to have block sanded it all the way around so that it would be flat, level across yonder. And I did most of it, all except right here. And it's a defect in the casting. Nothing wrong with that. Came from the factory that where it was really. And I went right around. I primed it again after painting it the first time. It put out in hot sun and it wrinkled. I mean, it did it. I own up to it, for sure. Oh, bad, really bad. Enough to where I couldn't salvage it. So I waited a considerable amount of time because I wasn't in no hurry for it to dry, I thought. And scuffed. Actually, I water sanded it and then scuffed on top of that because that was too slick. But I really wanted it to be slick when I was once I decided to paint it, and it was pretty slick. But it wrinkled out in the hot sun, and I put too much paint on it. 3 heavy coats. I'm talking about it was my fault. Please do not blame it on the paint. It was purely operator. I'm taking full responsibility for it. It is what I'm making a point of it. So I scuffed that around through yonder. I've done already sanded it all the way around it right here. And right here is one of them Scotch Brite scuffing pads. Them are pretty good little things to have. This one right here is a 37447. You know, if you can happen up on these, it would be nice to lay in a couple of the different grits, just like right here. This is going to be really in my opinion, this right here Scotch Brite pad with Rust-Oleum primer with spot putty on it. Oh, it's slick. It's too slick. But I need it right in this radius right here, in this edge of this flywheel right here. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. I'd rather not, you know, because it's really, with the new paints and all, you know, you can get by with it. But Rust-Oleum, if there's a low place in there, it'll lay in there too heavy. And that's where the, oh, right there. See, right there's a little low place. So, oh, I got that. So we're good to go on this flywheel. And this outer rim right here, I'm not going to paint that. I'm going to wait till start the engine up and hold a piece of sandpaper, maybe a heavy grit emery cloth at first, and bring it to bare metal. But this is good to go. Well, we got the new spring in there. Oh, this is a nice one right here. Works good. And I put that in there for a prop. We don't need that in there no more, but that's enough. And I'll blow that out with the air hose. Knock that dry little dry place right there. Knock it out of there. So I'm gonna air hose that real good, and then I'm gonna prime that. Well, at some point y'all get to see it. But right now, let's take a break. From here on the East Coast, Arkansas, Shop Dog Sam. Little Adam on. This sandpaper right here that I'm using, the sandpaper part of it, and I really like that. That's 220. That's 220 wet or dry. So I like that bite right there for that primer. Is what I'm talking about. So from here on the East Coast, Arkansas, Shop Dog Sam.